Don't worry about the borders. Don't worry about the borders. Pink made it, by the way. Pink made that image. I need to put that on there. I don't know if that actually... Let me take a look at it real quick. I want to make sure that's on there. If it's not, we're going to put a big label on it. Yep. Okay, we need to label it. We need to label it. We got to label it. Oh, ignore the bars. Don't worry about them. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Ah, there we go. Hello, 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 everybody. How's everybody doing today? Y'all having a good one? Y'all having a lovely day? Hi. Does Pink have an Instagram for their art? Pink, do you have an Instagram? Hey, we just started. Why are you throwing stuff? What the heck? Bad. So, hi. Pink. Send me your socials. I need to link your socials. I found a pretty guy on the bus today. Was it me? Was I the pretty guy on the bus? But hello, 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 everybody. Everybody from the TikTok, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you. Everyone from YouTube, from Twitter. There's nobody from Twitter, let's be honest. From Instagram, also lovely to see you. Hey!
Gene,
in my own home.
I had to give myself an injection for the first time. It was scary.
I'm super proud of you. Whoa. I'm such a good donkey. So, yes, hello, everybody. Hello, all the new people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the menagerie. I might just change it to zoo, because I feel like people are having too much difficulty saying menagerie, so we might just become a zoo chat at this point. And y'all are all my lovely little voidlings. Hello. Well, I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the plethora? No, that's even worse. You don't want to be in a zoo, so you want to be in a menagerie. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so for those of you who don't know, at the beginning of every stream, we're not a conglomerate, we're not a company. We'll do menagerie then. Menagerie is nice. Y'all have to learn, you're in the menagerie, but you're a voidling, okay? You're all little voidlings. We're a cult at this point? No, we're not a cult. We're not a cult. Government, we're not a cult. Shh. Quiet. Welcome to the Union. Can we get benefits? Never mind, not a union. Not a union. The benefit is you gotta watch me stream. Okay, lovelies, we gotta do this, okay? At the beginning of it, Army might work actually, but I think everybody does an Army. It doesn't matter. We'll do a vote later. We'll have an announcement thingy to figure it out. So, as we do at the start of every stream, we go and congratulate the people who got first, second, and third, and then I'm going to say hello to every single person who checked in. So if you haven't checked in yet and you want me to say hello, please check in. We're not a cult. You're prisoners. I keep you hostage. What do you... If you were a cult, I wouldn't have to lock you up, okay? So, if you haven't checked in yet, please do so. It lets Twitch know that you're actively in my stream. And also, you get a hello from me, so... First, thank you and congratulations, Catherine, for getting first. Congratulations, Nuggets, for getting second. And congratulations, Talissima, for getting third. Also, hello, Golden Boxing. Hello, Dwarf and Carmia. Hello, Meow Kitty Cat and Show Weirdo. Hello, Pandragon and Paranormal Dove. Hello, Poison and Cottage Faye. Hello, Cammy Cutie. And hello, Control Pink, you cute little rat. Hello, Full Metal Brook. Hello, Silver Vang Rose. Hello, Tired Nap Time. Hello, Macaroni. Hello, Talus. Hello, Butter. Hello, Xenix. Hello, Lunar. Hello, Andeagle. I don't like this song. Give me a second. Bark like you want it. No, lame. Oh, yes. Love the song. Okay, anyways, where were we? Okay. Hello, Tequila Sunrise. Hello, Cotton Candy. Hello, Pebbles and Rengoku's wifey. Hey, Rengoku's wifey, it's been a little bit. Stop hitting me. Hello, Moon. Hello, Ziggy. Hello, Boku. Hello, Kitty Lover. Hello, Jaden. Hello, Sakona and Annabelle. Hello, Useless Huntress. Hello, Princess KY. Hello, Keely K. Hello, Ocean and Lily Pad and Nelia. And hello, Caitlin and Misty Harvest. Hello, Misty. Hello, Sky Walrus. I like that you're a Sky Walrus. Hello, Day of the Balkan. Hello, Alentia. Hello, Ruby. Hello, Gibbets. Hi, Gibby. Hello, Ghost Siren. Hello, Fally. Hello, Teddy. Hello, Jinx. Hello, Red Faye and Neeks. Hello, Neffy. Hello. Thank you for the stretch. Hello, Beta Wolf Girl. Bonking myself there. Hello, Tasha and Oliver the Tiny Wizard. Hello, Snowborn. Streaks. Hello, thank you for the check-ins. And hello. I think we're getting close to the end. Thank you for the follow, Charlie Hyung. And welcome to the menagerie. Thank you for the hydrate. I rated the I'm Such a Good Doggy. Thank you for checking in, Ghost. Hello, Alia and Momumia. Hello, Julia and Loki. Really, the whiny voice? Final finishes up in the whiny voice. Okay. And hello there, Cammy and Onyx. And hello, Nuggets and Kiana. And hello, Galactic. And hello, Beta Wolf Girlie. And hello, Highland. And hello, Cade and Charlie, and hello, Bailey, and Kira, and hello, Vanya, hello, Little Raccoon, hello, Catherine and Dumpster, and hello, Nerdy Fandom, and Kai, and Discorded Fox, and oh no, Uwu, thank you so much for the Wadim. So many people. What are you cooking for the cage? I would. Why? Stop it. Who's Cole? Hi, Cole. Hi, and hello, Kai. Yes, the only reason we have the pummel back is because Carmia said that they needed to be goofy today, or whatever, and so I gave them functions. What? No, I know, but I have to do the whiny voice first. Nerdy will come later. Whiny was first. Nerdy comes later. Okay. No, not you, Nerdy. And do I have to go to Nerdy immediately? Really? All right. I should make these cool down at the start of the stream. All right, chat. So today we're going to be going through some stuff. I have two options, really. Why are we in jail? Lisa, why do you think you're in jail? You deserve to be in jail. And because people were trying to say that this was a cult. It's not a cult. It's not a cult, okay? You understand? It's not a cult. And fine, I can do this. Are you ready? There we go. See, I got it perfect. It's the best I can do. What a small world. It's not a cult, it's a prison camp. Well, it's not a prison camp either. Look, the point is that it's not an army. Can't be an army. Maybe a union.
June, can I jump on the bed, please?
No jumping on the
comfy.
bed. Stay in the cage. Okay, so it can't be a cult. Cause cults, no. I'm such a good doggy. There you go. It can't be an army because armies are lame. It can't be a union. Well, it may be a union as long as nobody asks for benefits. The animal union. Welcome to the animal union. Maybe a pack. We're not dogs. A government. We're not a. We can't. No, I'm not starting a government. A support group. That would make sense. How far are we? How long long do I have on this voice? I think I just started it, but I feel like it's almost done. Okay, we only have 1 minute left. Chaos Gremlins? No, your void length. I mean, I could just say welcome to the void. My little void length, but I'm pretty sure other people already have the void. Menagerie with unique at least. Stop hitting me! Yes. A therapy group. I refuse. Well, a murder of void links. What are we, crows? We'll figure it out one day. Maybe we'll have a vote for it, and whatever wins gets it. Okay. You can still be a gremlin, but we're not a gremlin of voidlings. Is it my birthday? Oh, okay. Chat. You ready? It's my birthday again for some reason. We're gonna celebrate my birthday. All right. Happy birthday, dear Jean. Happy birthday, dear Jean. Happy birthday, dear Jean. It's not my birthday, but happy birthday. There we go. I was told happy birthday, so I had to celebrate it. I can't say welcome to the arson. That doesn't make any sense. Menagerie at least makes sense, and I can use it in lore. Okay. So hear me out, chat, lovely little voidlings. Hear me out. Here's why this is important, okay? So, in the lore and in novelization and everything, when Gene has a group of people with him, he will need to have like a quote-unquote gang name. Or, like how, hi Kaikor, by the way. I don't know if I said it earlier. Or Joker has his people and Penguin has his people, so Menagerie I think works really well for like a group of villains. So like, does this just mean that we're all voluntary kidnappees? I mean, I don't know if you're voluntary or if Stockholm syndrome. No, what do you mean we got this voice again? Honestly, I think Menagerie might be the best. It might be the best. Why are we doing this again? I just got out of this. You are minions now, yes. If I kept you long enough, you are minions. Basically, actually, you're embodiments of the void that have been put into a little form that will hunt things down and fight with me. So you're... was that the bicycle? Who threw a bike? Who threw a bike? I mean, that's so mean. So mean. Rude. Anyways, I did have pizza. By the way, the person who bought me, lovely Sarah, who bought me the gift card for Uber Eats, thank you. I bought 2 little pizzas today, and they're very nice. How loud? Are those too loud? Should I do turning those down? Those seem a little loud. We're going to turn them down a little bit. It's whatever. I'm fine with it. Oh, you don't hear it? Nobody tells me you didn't hear. Y'all never tell me anything. Y'all never tell me that you don't hear. I hear it. It's so loud. It's so loud. Hello, Sugar Kiss. Thank you so much for the follow. Stop violating. Stop violating. Can I solve this voice yet? Are we almost done? Hello, Sakura Rose. Come on. I want to be normal voice for like 3 minutes, please. Thank you for the follow. Wait a second. What's happening here? There it is. Y'all have not been hearing it make it. Oh, it's only been me hearing it. That's so stupid. Okay, give me a second. We'll figure it out another time. I don't care right now. It's not that important. Okay. Are you shitting me? Huff. Really? You mean you're not a single veggie you eat? I love veggies. Veggies are so good. You should eat more veggies. Lucky, I hope you're having a good day, homie. Good luck with stream today. Thank you, Editor Cole. Hello, Editor Cole. It's been a little bit. I hope you're doing great. How am I doing? Okay, so I'm doing good. Okay, we have plans. Now, we have 2 options. More Minecraft, because I've been loving Minecraft today so much. Minecraft has been amazing. Or we can do a little dispatch. What are we feeling? Do you want to just hang out and do Minecraft? Or do you want to have a focus game day where we do dispatch? Should we do a vote on it? There's no bully Gene option. You're not allowed to bully Gene. Minecraft. Really? Y'all want to just do Minecraft? Dispatch? Okay, there's 1 dispatch. 2. Okay, we're going to make it a poll. We're going to do a poll. Give me a second. Poll. Let's see what we have. Game. Minecraft. Yes, this is very good. Or... dispatch. All right, chat, are you ready? Poll is starting now. You have 1 minute to vote. Is the perfect weather? All weather is perfect for Minecraft. I don't have a ranting, Croatia. Roleplay aside, that's fair. Oh, also, thank you for the follow, Sugar Kiss. Thank you. Welcome to the Menagerie. And hello, Sakura Rose. Welcome to the Menagerie. Welcome. But dispatch... Well, we're voting on it today. If we are doing... Tomorrow? Today's Wednesday, right? Today's Wednesday? So we'll probably do Dispatch tomorrow because I want to have like a game with no syncing. Und that one, I mean, it's kind of thinky, but I think would be okay. And we are going to do an even later stream afterwards. We're going to be doing 2 evening streams. 2 evening streams. Who's a snack? You can't eat me. Don't eat me. Don't eat me. Illegal. Okay. Okay. 39 people voted for Minecraft. Well, wo du seid von sein. Good choice, everybody. All right. And we'll do Minecraft tomorrow. Dispatch tomorrow. As well as, we're going to be doing Untitled Use Game. I have not played Hello Neighbor. How is it? That's a horror game, though, right? Thank you for all the check-ins, by the way. That was such a subtle throw. Y'all, really? Really? Y'all ain't gonna even let me get a few seconds, darlings. I mean, y'all so sweet and cute and everything, but I mean, come on. Maybe. Are we just going through all the redeems to make sure we've hidden all of them? Oh yeah, we playing hardcore still. We're still on the same one. Still on the same one.
Can I have a nibble of your hair?
You may not eat my hair. Also, ara. I mean, I don't know what I've been told.
Croissant.
Why are we saying croissant? Why are we saying croissant? Wait, you paid Tangia to say it? Was that actually called Weezer? Oh, incredible. Thank you for the biddies. I appreciate them. Why? Rude. So mean. Why do y'all love Southern so much? I could do a different kind of Southern. Thank you for the new subscription. Thank you, Galactic Go. Welcome. You're on official Voidland now. I know, but I'm not gonna fix it. I ain't gonna fix it. It's gonna take way too long for me to fix it, so y'all gonna have to deal with not hearing it. I ain't got the patience, nor have I got the mental fortitude to fix it. Because then I'd have to do with the sound and I have to adjust everything, and honestly, I ain't having all that. Alistair. I have an Alistair voice filter I can use. It allows me, it pitches me up very slightly and puts on the radio voice. So I could 100% be Alistair. That's too bad, Charlie. Get more points. I just saw Jambalaya. I am proud of you. Good job. Oh, man. The dumb Fugi broken again. I think it'll be broken.
Gene, all the voidlings are picky. It's getting expensive and exhausting to cook for them, send funds.
They can starve. If they ain't gonna eat, they can starve. We ain't feeding anybody who ain't gonna eat. Let me make sure the game audio's alright. What the heck is he? There you go. I got a little closer for you. Why you get off my torch? Why are you on my torch? Alright, let's go play some music. I'm gonna put some music on. God, do we want to listen to bad music or good music?
I'm sorry, but my sensors indicate that you are indeed a weenie.
Excuse me. Excuse me? What'd you call me? There you go. Leave that as background music. Or do we? Nah. We need a vibe music. This takes too much attention. As much as I like this music, we need vibe music in the background. What do we got? Am I still in Southern?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Refused. There we go. I do not ignore the mods. What do you want me? Why am I singing to you? No, I'm not singing to you. Nah. No hype train. We don't need no hype train. Thank you for the sub, Nuggets. Thank you. Right? Ah, it just chills everything down. Fine, ready? Do, baby shark. Do, baby shark. Do, baby shark. Is that good? Mama shark. Rude violence. My brain shut off. We're back. What you doing? We're playing Minecraft. Mod appreciation post. All right, you know what? Here we go. This stream would be nothing without the mods. This stream would be nothing without the mods. From those who came early and started with me, to those who have come in later, this stream would have fallen apart a long time ago. And they provide more to me than just support on stream, but also support off of stream, helping out in so many ways. Whether personally or relating to all of this, they're just absolutely incredible. And I do not know what I'd do without them. I do not think I'd have survived as long as I have, or grown as much as I have, without a single one of them. And we always need more. But the ones we have right now are so amazing. Every one of them. And I'm glad to not only call them mods, but my friends. There you go.
We adore the Voidling mods. They do so much.
They do. Now I'm gonna cut down the biggest tree in the forest, because it's poetic or something. I love y'all too. Alright, we're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna eat these potatoes. Oh, I can't eat the potatoes. Get rid of this and pick up. Yeah. Yeah, cutting down the biggest tree in the forest. A very merry unbirthday to you, A very merry unbirthday to you. Oh my god, wait, pet the mods, what the heck is that? That is so cute! Ah! For those of you who can't see the emote that Vanya just used, it is a, was it 7TV emote? It is a plugin for Chrome you may need to grab, but it is absolutely adorable. Every once in a while you'll see people do little messages and stuff that look weird. It's because they're doing one of the 7TV emotes. Do it. Record a child song. I believe in you. Hush, little baby, go to sleep. Your mother has also already gone to sleep. And nobody's here to watch you. So please, don't peep. I don't know. I like Block Game. Block Game's a lot of fun. Anyway. Where are the saplings? I actually was coming out here just to get some junglewood saplings, but they're always so hard to find. I don't know. Don't ask me. I have to say things sometimes, okay? Let me say things. No. Oh, to the pizza? Oh, I still have pizza. I have two kinds of pizza, chat. I am slightly lactose intolerant, so I got the 6-cheese Wisconsin pizza. And I also got a Hawaiian pizza loaded with ham and pineapple. Y'all can have as much as you want. Thank you for getting the stream streak. Always appreciated. Don't eat dirt, chat. Lovelies, don't eat dirt. You have to stop wanting to eat dirt. It's not good for you, okay? I got it for the meme. It was okay. Eating too much dirt can hurt, so stop it. Stop eating dirt. Dirt has no calories. Thank you for the stretch. I mean, it has no, like, potential energy, so, you know, it's not, no nutrients. I don't know. Dirt's not good for you, okay? Oh, you can crave dirt all you want. How about this? How about this?
I used to eat grass as a child. It tastes pretty good.
I used to eat some grass too. Some of the grasses are really sweet. But okay, how about this? You list all the foods that you want to eat that you can't eat, and I will make you like food equivalencies, you know? Bricks. Okay. What do you want about bricks? What do you like about bricks? Is it the crunch, the idea of the crunch? Magma I could probably figure out. Mud pie is easy, yeah. Who was it that kept eating cornstarch? I remember this. Somebody kept eating cornstarch all the time. Mm-hmm. What's a boku? They like the texture, and that's pretty much all they're eating. It's interesting. It was boku. Not boku? I thought it was boku. I mean, I would eat her husband's ashes too. I mean, what? Wasn't boku? Okay. Her husband's. Not Boku's husband's. I want to eat plushies. That's fine. Maybe they're still eating cornstarch. Maybe they got upset that I kept telling them not to eat cornstarch. Oh, I remember what we were doing. Okay, so here's the plan. This is going to be a dumb idea, but I'm going to see if I can make it work. We're going to make an observer. We're going to make 3 observers, okay? We're going to put the bamboo. Don't eat flour. Hi, Calypsy. We're going to we're going to make a, for paint. I think you could make like a sauce thickened with agar-agar that would get a similar consistency. If it's the smell, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Thank you for the lurk. Oh, okay, Addie. You be good, okay, sweetie? Cruise? You mean Cruci? Crucified? No, Crucified doesn't. It does not, Galactic. It does not. 20 pages of books. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Now that I thought about it, we're good. We don't need to figure it out. Okay. So. Ah. Scared the crap out of me. Okay. I need water. No knows on how to eat D's. Go ahead. Why are you changing my pants? right, congratulations on being 3,000th. Hello, hello, hello. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. You are number 3,000. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the menagerie.
I do something strange for a gritty, chalky rocker.
Really interesting. We did it, we did it, we did it. All right. My brain. No eating Gene. Why would you eat me? That's illegal. It's a crime. You can't eat me. Crime, 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 crime. I need dirt. And that'll work. Stop trying to escape. I did too. I did too. Yeah, well, I'm never dying. I'm immortal. Sure, you don't know. Okay. So, heck, I need another thing. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. We're gonna drop some sticks. I forget a lot of things. I do. I fed chat. I did feed you. Just because you don't remember it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It didn't happen, okay? I need a lot more funnels. Man. Can we eat plain bread? You can have plain bread. That is acceptable. Well, no, I fed all of you. Just doesn't mean you ate. Okay, we can get canes. Canes is acceptable. I mean, to be fair, you every time.
I think this is why he doesn't let us out of the cage. The murderous and cannibalistic tendencies.
And arson, mostly. You can call me father. You may not call me daddy. You may call me father. Because I'm secretly I'm the dad from Codename Kid Next Door. I am father. No. No arson. Ow! Don't hit me! What the heck? Why? I don't have enough iron. I need more iron. We'll see what I can do with this. All right. Doop. Perfect.
Gene, may I eat glass? It looks like it would have a fantastic crunch.
No, you may not eat glass. Why would you want? No, you can't eat glass. What kind of questions are these? No glass. Yes, everybody gets ice cream. I should learn how to do Father's voice. Father had such a cool voice. I don't know who was the voice actor for that guy. I know his voice. It's iconic, but oof. Ooh. So good. Such a good voice actor. Okay. Here's what we gotta do. Oh, I did bite the phone. Maurice LaMarche. Sounds familiar. Could you become a pineapple? I will not become a pineapple, but I can feed you a pineapple. Sayron. Thank you, Cottage. I've also bitten glass before. I understand why you would do it, but you shouldn't. Hello, Miss Fun-Sized. No, it's not my birthday. My birthday is February 17th, 1990. Wow. Wow, I almost gave away my birthday.
I accidentally ate some crayons, but the crayons had a good flavor.
I don't know what advice I gave you, Miss Fun Sized, but I'm glad I did so. Wait, him? Oh, Miss Fun Sized! Wait. Which
Can we
tits
go
were it?
outside so I can eat a squirrel again? Please, Father, or we will eat you.
I was actually born in 1999. I was actually born in 1999. Repeating. No, I'm not going to tell you what my birth date is. Anyways, shush. Don't even guess. Can we go outside? Fine, you can eat a squirrel. 1909, actually. No, you cannot eat my... Bunch of dorks. All of you are a bunch of dorks. Though you're amazing. You are all fantastic. And I really do care about you. I hope you know that. 1997, exactly. By the way, don't even try to guess my age, though. Twitch will get upset. So shush. Mwah. Oh. Wait, Miss Fun Size. I need to see the Reddit post because I commented on a few people. I want to see which one I said. At least let me see if I was nice. I have no clue which one it was. Is your username different? I'm not a cringy boy. Chat, I just don't exist, actually. I'm infinite and also non-existent at the same time. I know it's hard to believe that I exist and also don't exist at all times, but, like, hey, it's the way it is. You're gonna have to deal with that. Okay. You can take criticism. I'm glad you can take criticism. You. Wait, did I say you're doing the thing wrong? Did I say you're doing the thing wrong? Were you focusing on chat to give them more choice and feel in control? Aha! Yes. No, and the reason I say that, so like, let's talk about it real quick, chat. Lovely voidlings. It is a common mistake early on in streaming for a lot of people to kind of want to make streaming for other people, right? Like, you want to make people feel like they belong there, that they have control and whatever. But you have to remember that when you are streaming, like, all of you are here to be entertained, right? If you wanted to play a game, you'd be playing the game. If you were here, if you wanted to control a stream, you could just stream. But y'all want to be entertained. And that means putting the burden on ourselves. As streamers, we have to make sure that the burden is on us to make the content, not on the viewers. Yeah, of course I let you vote, but I gave you two choices. It's an illusion of choice. And if I didn't want to play the game that you wanted to play, I would immediately pick the game I wanted to do anyways. But I'm gonna eventually write a whole like article on it. I mean, I have a boot camp for VTubers or streamers in general. And all that kind of stuff. Okay, voices. What voices do we have redeemed? Oh, and I like the sun lamp idea. I actually have a sun lamp, by the way. I don't know if it's a sun lamp or it's a bright lamp that claims to be a sun. Really? Why do you like this one so much? Okay, fine. We're going to do this one for a little while. Just for you, though, because you're so special. Let's see. I have not moved from the spot. I keep thinking of what I'm going to do. What was your question? Oh, Gene, if you don't want us to rush outside and take us... No, I just said it. I think a sun lamp would be a good idea, Danny. I think a sun lamp would be a good idea. Yeah. Well, no, and here's the thing, though. Like, if you don't want them to choose the one you want... Like, basically, if you want to do a choice thing... I don't know. Fight me IRL right now, guys. What am I missing? The Forge! That's what it is. Can we eat toothpaste? Okay, so I'm going to be honest right now. My ex used to get so mad at me for eating toothpaste. Because the thing is, I don't eat toothpaste, okay? I brush my teeth for a long period of time. And I don't think about the fact, stop hitting me, that I'm just swallowing the toothpaste while I'm brushing my teeth. It's like, it's so bad for you. I'm like, is it though? Is it really? I mean, if it was that bad for you, why would I put it in my mouth? And again, I have put some horrible things in my mouth, so maybe I shouldn't be the judge for that. Stop mugging me. But yes, you may eat a little bit of toothpaste. Why are we throwing bears? Don't ask me, I don't know. Okay, so here's the plan, okay? We're going to wait for this thing to fill up here. And that's going to go here. Yes. And so that means I need to put a chest here. No. No, I need to feed one chest into another chest. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Okay, whoa. Here's the idea. Yes.
Redeem.
What we're gonna do here is I'm gonna put a chest here. That's gonna connect. Oh, he's gonna come out. Stay there. Behave yourself. Okay, I'm gonna put one chest here. That's gonna feed into this one. Okay. Wait. Give me a second. I'm so close. F is for friends who do stuff together, U is for you and me, and it's for anywhere and anytime at all down here in the great blue sea. There you go, you happy? Okay, the plan. Here's what the plan was. We have a chest here, okay? We're gonna put a copper chest here to have a little golem boy deposit minerals into a thing over here, right? And then he's gonna pick up the minerals from here, and he's gonna take it back here, where this copper golem is going to sort them and take them back there. And that way I can sort the minerals after the fact. And then I'm good. Instead of me having to, like manually do everything, I just drop them here. And we're going to build an auto farm, a bamboo farm at the top that is going to fuel the furnace. So that we'd never need to fuel the furnace ever again and it fuels itself. And I will never have to see any of this happening. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I got it figured out. Father, may I steal my older cousin's $300? You may not steal your older cousin's $300. Do not steal from your older cousin. Rude. What's Gene's rule? No cannibalism. It is my rule.
Bad German, redeem my...
All right. I got you. Okay, so what I need here is I need to set up a bamboo farm here. And it needs to get tall enough. Oh, that's what the issue is. Oh, no. You live down here now.
You are father time. Sorry, I'm a little delayed.
I am father time. Ooh, how old does that make me? Infinite? Envy! Hello. Envy, sweetie. Hello. We're stuck in the German for... Envy, congratulations! You know what that means? Envy, you get one free sub. Congrats. So, here we go. We're paying for it. Ow! All right, we got raided. Y'all are delayed. Refresh your stream if you're delayed. Okay, give me a second while I fix something real quick. So, Envy, I know that you've been here and you've seen one of these before, but we have to do it anyways, because it is part of the plans. So, lovely people. Hello. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, and a soon-to-be villain. And I had this little room here built. I mean, look at it. Isn't this pretty? Just for all of you lovely raiders. It's a little welcoming space to make sure that I don't lose anybody. There we go. Enjoy the basement, raiders. I hope you enjoy your time here. You're going to help me get partner one of these days. But how was it? What were you playing? Can we get a shout out for the lovely Envy if we haven't already? Envy, sweetie, what were you playing? I know you love the cage. A cute little Dark Souls. Ooh, are you still doing the Faith build? Yeah, nice. Kidnapped again? Can I have a hug? No, I refuse. Hype train, what the heck? Hey! Congrats on the hype train, everybody. Welcome to the hype train. Shocky build is so fun. I feel like Faith has gotten weaker over time, but I don't remember if that was just somebody saying it has, or if that's a lore thing, or what. Okay. I need glowstone. That's fair. I'm happy with the tier 1 hype train as well, y'all. Like, just the fact that y'all wanted to get me to a hype train is enough amazingness for me.
Gene is a dog man from our imagination. He barks. He kidnapped people in the basement, and he'd do amazing, funny little voices. A strange and wild create.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you very much. My brain is very, very fried. I had a minor... Fine, you can have a hug. Come here. There, you happy? And what day on Minecraft World? No, one of them's Cortana. Okay. I honestly don't know. It's not my birthday! I wish it was. So we could do like a whole thing for it. It'd be fun. It'd be so much fun. But we can't. Okay, I need bamboo. Step 1. I need to make observer. Step 2. I need pistons. Okay. I need glowstone. All right. Every day can be my birthday. Every day can't be my birthday. That'd be horrifying implications for my mother. I would feel so bad for her if every day was my birthday. Having to birth me every day for a year would be insane. That's right, that image is in your head now. Deal with it. Thank you for the lurks. Okay. Come on. I just said what I needed. We have redstone. Check. Iron. Check. I can make sticks. Check. I need standard stone.
And you missed my aura redeem.
Fine. I am the Queen of England, actually. I'm sorry that you all had to find out this way. I'm not. I'm glad I'm not. So we need a stick. There's sticks.
Gene, I drank 18 bottles of water. May I please have a dino nugget?
You did what? Why did you do... Why would you do that? Yeah, fair enough. 1, 2, 3. Freaking goofy. Piston. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be enough, right? You told people to drink water, they did. Okay. I'm also dead, chat. I forgot to tell you all of this, but I've died? Cal, you live down here. Good luck, honey. You know, it might save me a little bit of resources to just... Yeah. Making dinner for one of your clients. Is it me? Am I the client? Can I be the client? Oh, that'd be amazing. Your Wi-Fi is awful. Don't let it be. Duh. Okay. You go live as soon as I have to go to work? Not my fault. Work at a different time. I've just decided to be sassy now. I hope you all embrace the sassiness, because it's going to just keep happening. Yeah, the cow just lives down here. It fell down a hole. La vaca moo. Drinking waters for little babies and omegas. All right, so which one are you? I ate a tree. How would you even eat a tree? How does that even work? Don't eat trees. Wild. Oh, sorry. Envy, if you need a raid and run, feel free to do so. I feel like I have to allow people to leave sometimes. Because who knows if they will. All right. We're going to put a... Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy your time here. Your boss is a hoe. Sick. What's that make you? You're suddenly dehydrated. Why are you dehydrated? Drink your water. Gulp it down. I will force feed you all water if you do not drink water. I will actively drown you. Okay, is this gonna work? This might be wrong. Heh. 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 Time to test it. It works. Amazing. Too high. Bamboo, bamboo. Because omegas and babies drink water, I refuse to be omega. I ain't fair enough. How does chat do anything is honestly my question. How does chat ever do anything? Okay. That's bamboo, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so that works. We're gonna put this here. Oh, I'm proud of you for having water. Good job. Well done.
La vaca moo.
La vaca moo. Okay. Wait. So I need to have something that feeds... Okay. We're almost there. We're almost there. This chest, this barrel, needs to go... Cow, you're in my way, cow. I am considering killing you, and I really don't want to. Barrel goes here, okay? Cow! Cow! Cow, leave! Cow, leave! Stick. There we go. Perfect. Part 1 is good. Part 2, I need a... This needs to feed into the side of a... This is going to feed into the side of a furnace to fuel it. Yes. Coffee does not negate the Powerade, but it can lead to more dehydration. All right. So this then needs to go here. It's not going to dehydrate you. It's still liquid, but you know. All right. Furnace. We're not eating the cow. I've trapped myself. Okay, we need to fix that though. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Now, don't escape the bait. You can't escape the bait. The door's locked. Where are you going? All right, now we got this. Okay, next. Into the top of the furnace. There's all my metals. Perfect, we're good so far. Yeah, so we're gonna make sure the Voidling doesn't do anything stupid, so he's gonna stay away from there. Not the Voidling, sorry, the Golem. What are you doing back here, cow? Go away! Hello, Dolzy. Dollies. Hi, welcome. It's not my birthday! No, hey, Vanya, we're not no. We're not doing that. We're not telling people it's my birthday. We're not telling people it's my birthday. I want to have a good birthday on my birthday. I've been hiding that stuff. Okay. And lastly, I need Thank you. Rude. What do you mean rude? I'm not rude. It's not my birthday. I'm not going to celebrate my birthday when it's not my birthday. Well, enjoy hugging your pillow. Okay. This will go here. Perfect. And so now we'll have the one that goes from here. Okay, I'll feed. Put a copper chest right about here. And there we go. My birthday is February 32nd, you're right. Okay, we'll put a chest here. I'll lead all the way here. And he'll put everything in there. Perfect, okay. I refuse, no hugs. And he will never see the light of day. Am I out of pumpkins? I still have some pumpkins, good. I should probably plant a pumpkin. We're gonna go plant a pumpkin. Huggies, bye. Who's buying? Bye to whoever's buying. Bye. Okay. Yeah, no, cow fell in a hole and then just decided to live there. So, you know, the cow deserves this at this point. Okay, so that's gonna do that.
Can I please, have a hug?
No, I refuse. You'll just have to deal with it. Okay, and that'll do that, and then I'll do that, and we'll get rid of this. Okay. We're almost there. Fine, I will go kill the cow so everybody will be happy, okay? I'll go kill the cow and everybody will be happy. It's fine. That's what you wanted, right? You wanted the cow dead? Where's my redstone? Where'd my redstone go? Where'd my redstone go? Where'd my redstone go? That thing was pissing me off. Oh, this thing was so annoying. Where did my redstone go? Where? No, 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 get back in there. What the heck are you doing? Oh my god, okay. We have redstone here somewhere. I know I had redstone. I just had redstone. Do not call me daddy, please. I appreciate it. That's my one request. Daddy has sexual connotations, and I refuse to head down that route as a content creator. But yes. I cannot believe I lost the redstone. All right. I'd have no clue what happened. I had redstone. I had a junk ton of redstone. There's no way I used all of it. Right? I know I've been here. What did I do with it? I did. I mean, like, it should have moved into the boxes by now, and I've checked all the boxes. Oh, you know where it is? It's gonna be so dumb. It's gonna be so dumb. It's not there. Also, that went in wrong. I don't know then. Unless I dropped it somewhere. Oh, man. Doing so good, too. Well, it looks like... Oh, that's a problem. Okay, I'm glad we saw that. See, the one thing I hate about bamboo is it's so ineffective of actually ending up in the right spot. Like, you have to get it so it's the bamboo that grows right, and it grows near the edge. If it doesn't grow near the edge, it doesn't come off right. You can call me Father Time. I don't mind Father Time. Father Time's fine. Is there any hack for this? That's what I want to know. Dang. Dang. At least these ones will go properly. Okay, and if it goes too high, it's gonna hit there. So that should work? This should work, right? There we go. Okay. That's gonna cause it not to fall properly. You don't understand why people like sauces? You don't like sauce? You don't get lost in the sauce? Why don't you like sauce? Where'd the dirt go? What? Oh, it's stuck in the other funnel. Found it! I knew I had it. I don't have any hoodies. I don't know why everybody assumes I would wear hoodies. I don't own hoodies. I will start wearing hoodies because everyone's like, you need to be wearing hoodies, apparently. Getting upset I don't wear hoodies. Sauce is good. Sauce is the best. Sauce makes any food good. It does. It genuinely does. Okay. So we have that. That's good. I have this. I needed... Oh, I wanted another piston is all I wanted. And I have the piston. So let's finish up here. Because I wanted to make also a little pumpkin farm. Pasta no sauce? Oh, wait. Pasta no sauce? Who's not saucing their pasta? What? There we go. Okay, now we're gonna do... Now we can do this. We can do this. Then we can do a little bit of Idaho. Who da ho? It's me, I'm da ho. Yay! One of these. That's fine. Okay, pumpkin seed. Good. Now I can have pumpkins too, and that way, when I eat more pumpkins, they'll be there. Okay. Okay. Also, what's up, Boku? What? Why are you saying what the heck? Why are you what the hecking me? Where'd the piston go? How'd that... Okay. Oh, it wasn't you. No, I just said I thought it was Boku. I remember it was somebody with a B name. Don't ask me if you eat cornstarch. Ask yourself if you eat cornstarch. It's more of a you question, to be honest. Okay, let's make sure this works. Yay. It kind of sort of works. There we go. Nice. Cool. It's goofy. Does it function? It does. I don't know. The person who did eat it ate it because of the texture. I don't know why else you would do it. I don't see why people do things. I don't know why people do things. I'm not people. Is it just that specific block that'll always be like that? Interesting. So the fact is, it's based on where the block is located. That's interesting. Okay. Amazing. So I now have an automatic melon farm. I also have automatic potato farm, pumpkin farm. Now I can make the automatic smelter. And we're good. We're almost there. Ow! Thank you. All I need is copper. We have blocks of copper. I have 2 pumpkins. Yes. We're almost there. Yes. Okay, I need one more. I need a chest. I need a funnel. Okay, I have the funnel I need here. Okay. So funnel A is going to go here against that piece there. Let me get in the walls. Perfect. Nope, that's not right. There we go. He cannot go up, but he can still open the chest. Perfect. And now if I do this, yes, I can put a chest there. Okay, almost. Okay. Yes. I know the materials suck right now, and we'll fix that later. But I need to make sure, like, they're not doing anything dumb. Okay. So the other chest will go there. You all have been here long enough. Stuff goes out of stock because they're set to timers. Once the timer is up, it will refill in stock. Hasn't changed for the last 125 streams. They'll come back. Be patient. Okay. Rude. Why does your mouth hurt? What are you doing? You should be sorry. This is why I keep you extra in 2 cages. You don't get 1 cage, you get 2 cage. Okay. Okay. So, copper block. We'll put a pumpkin there in a second, and we're going to carve it. Pumpkin block. We'll put the pumpkin block there for now. Okay. Then, you can go up here. Up here. Hopefully he'll make this distance. I hope he does. That shouldn't be too far. And everything else needs to be blocked off by his path. We're making an automatic smelter. Again, the Minecraft server will be part of the fundraiser. When we do the fundraiser, if we reach a certain level tier of the fundraiser, then yes. If we don't reach that level of tier, then no. Okay. He's gonna be there. So I need to make sure that he doesn't come up here. He doesn't go there. Won't go up here. Okay. Yes. Okay. He needs to have only his one path to deal with. As long as he has that one path, he should be fine. Perfect. Okay. You need to drop off stuff there. So it's going to be a thing here. Perfect. That should do that. Okay. And I think if we do... Okay. Almost. So close. Hey, Copper Boy, do you want to move? You want to move, please? You want to get off the... There we go. Oh, really? Get off the chest! Come on! Thank you. Wow. He's as bad as you are, chat. He's as bad as you are. In the hole. There we go. Okay. Okay. I've deposited so much stuff down there. It's fine. There we go. Number one is done. There you go. Yes, please drop it. When Conway said to drop it, you can just, you know, you don't need to mention talk about it anymore. We're good. Apologies are not needed. You're good. Rugine. I mean, look. It's true. It's true. This is taking all my brain power. All my brain power right now to make this work. There. I only have so much brain power. I'm sorry. Okay. We got this. Okay. Pumpkin. Ow. And okay. Now hypothetically, we're gonna test this out. You ready? I need copper. Apparently, it was interesting. Where'd I put the copper? I need any metal to smelt. Come on, give me any metal. Maybe I'll just use stone. Aha, copper. Okay. Hypothetically, I go in here. I put the copper in here. Now you wait. He takes the copper. Okay. He should be going back to his chest back there and depositing it, which is then going to be using bamboo to burn. And the bamboo will infinitely make a source of fuel. Hopefully it's enough bamboo. Then we'll never need to... It's not my birthday! There'll be enough fuel that I'll never need to go back there and refuel it. And in time, it'll go into here. And it comes out here, yeah! Woo! And it's gonna go in there. And it'll be sorted back into whatever system is back here. We have no system yet. So it's gonna come back out. And there. Oh, the point of trapping the golem is to make sure that he's handling all the stuff back there. If you don't trap him in there, he'll just go wherever and he'll start opening random boxes. And he'll go to the first empty box he sees and just puts it in there. And he'll put it in this box and it'll mess up my sorting system. Thank you for the follow! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes. Now, I might need to make the bamboo farm bigger at some point, because I don't know if it's going to burn enough fuel, or it's going to make enough fuel to burn everything properly. And it might honestly just burn out, but, you know. Oh, I'm making an automatic smelter that then becomes an automatic storage. So all I will need to do is I'll be out here. I can mine. I can mine all I want. Because I'm going to need a lot of, specifically this kind of stone is my goal right now. And once I get all the stone in here and I fill up my inventory, I'll go back here, eat my way up here, deposit the stone, and then it will go do the whole process to make it into bricks that I need. Or it's going to make it into this kind of stone. Same thing with iron and everything else. And so it means I can just sit out here all day, especially during like an ASMR stream, and just mine. And I can mine a massive space and just keep putting it back there. I don't got to worry about the fuel. Oh, I'm building a giant wall. Because, you know. All right, bye, Daniel Wasabi. Daniela. And then I'm gonna build this giant wall with cobblestone, with the proper like the brick, and then this big wall will go around the whole town, and I will make the inner town. So I just need to rebuild all the walls. Daniela. Yeah. See? There's a point. And the walls are going to be giant. It's going to be great. And they're going to be filled with granite. Because that way I don't have to worry about monsters coming in and killing me. And I like a big wall. And it also gives me just more bricks to, you know, build stuff with. Because I like those kind of bricks. I don't know. Probably as big as the house. And they'll be filled with granite so that if something explodes, it will keep itself sealed. Yes. And then you'll just repair it and fill it back up. Yeah. I'm excited. I have plans now. I'm getting a call from Scam Likely. Give me a second. Hello, Scam Likely. Scam Likely, are you there? Oh, Scam Likely hung up. That's disappointing. What are we? Hi, Tabby. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining the menagerie. I should make you pancakes? I could make you pancakes. Okay. So here's my question. Are we getting any new copper? Have you all seen Dungeons and Daddies? Don't believe what you see or hear. don't believe what you hear or see, you're being called by scam likely. All right, I need to go check on this real quick. Got a bad feeling it ain't working right. Okay. That's fine. Bricks are in there, that's fine. Let's see how much... What kind of pancakes do you want? Okay, I need to test this real quick because I have a bad feeling that when the bamboo is being made, it might not... Okay, here it goes. Bamboo's coming through. Bamboo's not coming through. Where's the bamboo? Oh, you're kidding me. Why are you stuck there? Okay. Okay. That should do it, right? No! I hate you. Don't look at me like that. The golem fell down the hole. So now I have to get him out of the hole. It's gonna be such a pain because both of them are gonna come out of the hole. Come on, one of you come up. Stop looking in that box! All right. There we go. That's working fine. Alright. Because he's gonna try to drown himself. There we go. Okay, all of them might not function necessarily, but let's see if they will go in. Okay, should not be getting stuck, right? Okay. Oh boy, okay. And because I am afraid that it's not gonna work, redstone, iron ingot, we can make one more piston. Alright, let's do a piston. Bye-bye. Sorry I've all been super focused on this, y'all. I do apologize that I'm just so hyper-fixated on this right now. I just really want it to work, and I'm so close to having it work. I know I am. Alright, we'll just do one extra piston. It's so close. I can feel it. You know what I should do, actually? I don't know if this is gonna help. Oh, where'd I put my glowstone? We'll put some torches down there, just add some extra light. Just add extra light everywhere. They'll probably get stuck there. Ugh. There we go. Okay. How's everybody doing? Understandably, my new hyperfixation? Yeah. It is. I'm sorry if it is. If Okay. That should be fine. Bamboo? Bamboo. Yes, perfect. Okay. There we go. Lastly. Piston. Perfect. Piston? Behave yourself. Should be it, right? Nailed it. Okay. Oops. Oh, and I just got rid of all my water. And I just got rid of all my... Why? All right, get some sleep, Cookie. You sleep well.
Hey, Gene, I'm going to bed. I'm really tired.
I got this. I got this. I got this. I just need one more piece of water. Thank you for the follow, Forever Foster. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right. All right. It's gonna do it. I'm stealing your blanket right now. I'm personally taking your blanket. No blanket for you. Ha 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 ha. Crime. Crime has been committed. It's me. I stole your blanket. Oh, wrong way. Okay. There. Okay. Yes. Done. Done. So I'm pretty sure I accidentally loaded torches into that. So now this torch is they're gonna stop it up. So now I have to go and grab that. Give me a second. Okay, we're good. Oh, no, we're not. Knew it. Okay. Now, how many in there? 14. Okay. Now I have to make sure that all this is going to actually work. So, 1, 2, at least 2 should get in there. Is 2 enough to cook 1 piece of copper? Let's find out. It is not. It's going to be the one problem we have. Ah! Is it easier to mine coal and put it in there manually? Yes. I refuse! I refuse! I can make it harder for myself. And I'm going to keep making it harder for myself. You can't stop me. Well, I might not need a bigger farm. We just need to wait here now and let the bamboo grow. Now, the observer's rate pretty high, so I need to see how much, like, bamboo we're actually going to get. We should get at least 1, 2, 3, maybe 6, ideally. Depending on how everything grows. All right, you have a good one. Thank you for coming by, Useless Huntress. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we're just going to sit here for a while. How's everybody doing? You're probably just messaging right when I look away, Neff. That happens a lot. I don't look at the message nonstop. Hello, Muck. Yeah, no, I know I can burn logs, but I can't harvest logs automatically. Whereas where the problem is. And I can't grow a tree automatically. There's not autocrafter. Autocrafter's not a thing. As far as I know. This is vanilla. What do you mean there's an autocrafter? Ah! Well, okay, but Muck, how would I have the tree harvest itself? Doesn't matter. Also, I want this all underground. I want it to be compact. But then Autocrafter would totally fix this. Because I can just make things into bamboo blocks, and I mean, we can test. Let's do a little test here. No, I didn't know about an autocrafter. That was not a thing. It used to be a modded thing when I used to play. Okay, so I'd need 9, right? I like doing it in vanilla. It makes it dumb. Here's what we're gonna do. I already have this, what I'm looking for. Okay. Boom. Perfect. Okay. Give me bone meal. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yes. I like living underground. Underground is cool. Yes, they made Autocrafter a vanilla thing, apparently. Grow more bamboo. Oh, that sounds awful. I'm sorry your parents are talking politics. Can you leave? Ow! I didn't say throw stuff at me. What the heck? Fine. Go put some rocks in there. Go take some rocks. Be happy. Leave. Don't drop like that, you insane psycho. Do you see that? Okay. I refuse. I refuse to find anything. Nothing exists. Okay. So, will one of these burn enough to take care of copper? That's what my question is, okay? We'll try it with stone first. Easy, perfect. Okay, amazing. That is all I needed right there. That is what I needed. Okay, and that works, and that gives me a block. And I think it's going to be similar to copper? Do I have any copper anywhere that I can grab? No, I don't look... Oh, no, it's already smelted. Are you still focused on the pumpkin? Did you figure out where to put the pumpkin yet? Is there no pumpkin in there? Why do we not have a pumpkin yet? Well, I am sorry, Pink. I did not see it. There you go. I'm gonna give you the southern that you asked for. You happy? You go, sure. Oh, you're just taking a while. Why are you taking so long, girlie? Where's my glowstone go? Where's my glowstone go? Man, I just need more glowstone all the time. Good. I'm glad you're happy. There. That should improve your growing ability. Slay. Slay. Slay your enemies. Bye, to be good. All right, we're almost there. I got this. Hi, how you doing, sweetie? All right. Gold. Don't need that. I checked a brick. Do things have different smelting times? Am I insane for thinking that? Anyways, auto crafter. Let's figure out how it works. We need iron. Okay, what's the longest smelting time? Hey, yo, chat, question. It's not my birthday. Does a blast furnace smelts faster, right? Does it need more fuel to burn faster? Oh, only smelts minerals. All right, never mind. We're just gonna use that smelter then. All right. Thank you. Okay. So if I make an auto crafter, then that should take care of an issue. Yeah. So I need to make a dispenser. So I need string, so I need a bow. All right. So I'm gonna make a bow. Where'd my string go? Yeah, and I don't need the food one. I just need this. So, all right. So I have the bow. Spencer. Easy enough. I know where all my stone went. There it is. All right. Now. Are we sure AutoCraft is in this? Well, y'all, I will explode. You can't stop me. Time to go get iron. Hopefully we'll find some. They're just called crafter? We'll try it. We'll try it. We'll try it. So I'll go get the iron I need. Then we're good, right? It happens sometimes, I guess. I hope it's in there. If it ain't in there, I'm gonna be annoyed. I did make a dispenser. I did. It doesn't need a dispenser. It needs a dropper. It needs a dropper. That's what the problem is. Oh well. Alright, let's see if we can find some iron. Why am I still doing Southern? Southern timer ran out already, didn't it? Not that anybody was going to complain, apparently. So close. I'm so close. I just want this to, this is stupid for me to spend this much time on this thing. I know. I know. I do not need a comparator. I'm looking at the recipe right now. Product does have dopamine. It just needs 5 iron, 2 redstone, which I feel like I should have some iron. Yeah, that thing shows from like everything from like mods to anything else, so like I would not trust it. Well, yeah, I need redstone to activate, but that's fine. I have plenty of redstone. We could just keep it active all the time, couldn't we? You're enjoying watching this? I'm glad you're enjoying watching this. I was genuinely like, I was worried that everybody was getting really bored. Because I know I'm not giving you all the attention that you deserve right now and all the love and care and kindness that you want. But y'all, I want to do this. It's making me very happy to slowly make this thing, especially in hardcore. Your voice is calming. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I'm glad, I'm glad. You've not gotten distracted once? Have you been actively watching this the entire time? That's kind of more insane to me. Because I don't pay attention to what I'm doing a lot of times, and I'll get caught up in actions, and it takes so much. Genuinely, my brain, I get, like, this is not me, like, talking bad about myself. I become, like, less cognitive when I stream, because so much of my brain is taken up by streaming and chat and all that stuff, and, like, thinking about, like, okay, I need to watch out for redeems, I need to see these things, you have a constant conversation going, that, like, halfway through the stream, I'll be like, am I actually streaming? Have I been talking this entire time? And honestly, right now, I just had a realization, I've been streaming this entire time. And my brain was not happy with that thought. It was just thinking, oh, why am I strip mining at 0? I don't look at the number thing. I just pick random places to mine. Dig deeper. Okay. I can always go deeper. Today's Wednesday, right? We are on Wednesday. I need confirmation from everybody we are on Wednesday because it's been bothering me all day. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. God, it has been driving me insane. I've been like, today's Thursday, right? Like, no, it's not Thursday. But today's Thursday. It's not Thursday. Today's Thursday, though. No, it's not Thursday. It's Wednesday, because I have stuff Thursday. I have, like, plenty of stuff Thursday. And I'm like, I feel like I'm always running out of time. Okay. But Friday will not be a work from home day, by the way. Y'all, I don't know if I'll even be able to do an afternoon stream on Friday. We'll have to see. I have to go into work because they have a company coming out, and they need somebody on site for it. Okay, what am I doing? I need a pick. You know what? I don't care. Thank you for the follow. Welcome, 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 welcome. No. That's fair, that's fair. That's because you're on another side of the planet, and that doesn't count. The other side of the world don't count. Y'all, I've been going through the Reddit, though, by the way, of everybody asking for, like, Twitch stream advice. And I can see so many people doing the same mistakes that I did that I'm, like, heavily pushing people to be like, y'all, you don't know what you're doing with these things. Like, it's... Or should I go even deeper? We'll go even deeper. We'll go 1, 2... Ooh, I think we're getting close to a fall off point, and that's why I'm a little scared right now. Well, I am nice with the nice. I'm just like people are like, oh hey, like what am I doing something really obvious wrong? I'm like, yeah, you're focusing on trying to make the viewers feel like they're engaged. When in reality, like you can make a stream that's very engaging, but you have to do more than just give people choice. If you're gonna make an engaging stream, it's gonna take a lot more like oomph, pizzazz. Like for instance, the voice redeems are cool, but you really don't interact with that much. I used to have specific like word phrases. I would say like I would do like praise redeems. Praise redeems got weird though, so we quit doing those. But the praise redeems is kind of like a more heavily interactive thing. I know. We already did a time check. We're good. I'm going a little bit longer. Karmiya, by the way, Karmiya, there are other people here in stream today, and you've chosen to stay up past your bedtime. What's going on? What's going on, sweetie? Okay. Well, how late? How late are you going for? I decided we're breaking this down pick. So iron is deeper, like in this level, is what you're trying to tell me, right? I'm gonna find more iron here. Why are you laughing? Is there less iron here? Pink, I think you did. Y'all, I don't know. Where are my Minecraft experts? So I need to go higher up is what you're telling me. I should not have gone lower. Oh my, y'all, why did you tell me to go deeper? Iron, just iron, iron's all I want. I don't care about diamonds. I need iron to finish off the dispenser. Croissant? Professional tweaker. Valid. What are spiral mines? Y'all, your croissants.
Croissant, croissant, croissant.
Huh? Heck was that? Yeah, well, I can't leave, so, I'm playing hardcore. I don't want to go too out far in the mountains. So it's done in caps, obviously. And we could just find Mount... There it is. Gonna beat you to death with a shovel. To think I've been on the wrong level this entire time. I just need to be a little bit higher up. I've been wasting all of this time. Wasting all this time. Not saying that I'm wasting time, because I enjoy hanging out with you all, but like... I was... Frustrating. Good morning, Beamy. How you doing? Beamers. Beamy to beamy to beamy to beam. Beam a lim dim dim. Carl Weezer, aye aye, Captain. Oh, I've been looking for iron on the wrong levels. Huh? Beam. There we go. I'm good. I'm very well. I was better until I found out I've been looking for iron in all the wrong places. It's just like, hey Gene, did you know you're dumb? I'm like, yeah, I know. I know I'm dumb. I know I'm so dumb. Get beaten to death with a shovel. I know. No, I mean, I know I'm not dumb. I know. No, Shay, you smart. Yay, I can fish for compliments. Hey, chat. Ah. Sorry, as I was saying. Hey, chat. Guys, I'm so ugly and dumb. I can't believe any of you would watch me. Wow, that's crazy. Anyways. All right, now we wait. Now I wait. Wow, you throw things at me. You don't compliment me. You throw things. There we go. Thank you, Zesty. I'm glad somebody got me. Somebody got me. Thank you. That's what I needed. It's fishing for compliments. Good. Proud of you. You got this. Y'all did amazing. So proud. Fine. Believe it. I will be the Hokage. There you go. It's the best you're getting. Okay. So we're gonna take all the iron that I just got. If you want me to do a different cringe line, then throw my way. I am not ugly, but I appreciate the confidence, everybody. Okay. How do you make a dropper? Really? Okay, we have a dropper. Okay, fine. 50 Shades of Grey. We're gonna read it in the nerd voice. You ready? Oh, no, not that one. No. No. Her what? No. No, I can't read these. I cannot read these. Not a single one I can actually read. You know, we'll censor it. I palm her as I ease my weight onto her. I'm going to take you from behind, Anastasia. With my other hand, I grab her hair at her nape and tug gently, holding her in place. She cannot move. Her hands are helplessly splayed against the sheath, out of harm's way. You're mine, I whisper. Only mine. Don't forget it. And that was the cleanest one. That was the cleanest one. All of them were so bad. It was like I stuck my thumb in this place and I did this thing. I was like, oh, why? What are we doing here, Gray? What are we doing here? No, yep. Thank you for the gifted subs. Thank you for the gifted subs. What the heck? Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Don't know what those are for, but I will take them. Okay, now, Autocrafter. How does it work? Ah, shoot. Okay. So I'm assuming I need to fill it up with my stuff, right? And then I don't know where it outputs it. Cool. All right. Okay. So we're gonna need one more chest to do that. One more of these. There. Now I have all the iron. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye. This is the wrong spot. We're so close. So close. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. All right. All right. Here's the plan. Heck. Oh. I'm looking it up tomorrow. I'm looking it up tomorrow. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how it works. And I'll look it up tomorrow. Yes. Because I think I'm going to have to take everything down a level. I'll have to take everything down a level to make everything work. And I do not have the time to take everything down a level. So I'd have to rebuild so much stuff. And I'm... Okay, hypothetically, what I could do is I could move everything... Yeah, I'll have to look up how autocrafters actually work. But we have one. How the crafter. And then we'll use the redstone and it'll function, hopefully. Yeah. I'll figure it out. Okay, lovely. So that's gonna be it for today. Come on over here. Come on over here. Let's hang out for a little bit longer. All right. We can end the stream. Yes, I guarantee you found a blue one and a purple one and a pink one, an orange one. You will find my model everywhere, I guarantee it. Because it's a very con model. It's a very nice model and it's very cheap. So, we're going to stream. How do we want to end stream? We have an option. We can either read a little poetry to end up stream nicely. I could read a short story. We could just hang out and talk for a little while. We could do a little words on stream, I guess. You want to do a little story? You want to do like a short story? All right, let's do some short story. Let's see if we can find a 5-minute story. Here we go. We're gonna try to read H.P. Lovecraft. The Terrible Old Man. All right. It was the design of Angelo Ricci and Joe Sinsneck and Manuel Silva to call him the Terrible Old Man. This old man dwells all alone in the very ancient house on Water Street near the sea, as reputed to be both exceedingly rich and exceedingly feeble. which forms a situation very attractive to men of the profession of messers. Ricci, Cesnek, and Silva, for the profession was nothing less dignified than robbery. These inhabitants of Kingsport say and think many things about the terrible old man, which generally keeps him safe from the attention of gentlemen like Ricci and his colleagues. Despite the almost certain fact that he hides a fortune of indefinite magnitude somewhere about his musty and venerable abode, he is in truth a very strange person, believed to have been a captain of East India clipper ships in his day. So old that no one can remember. No, I have a story. I have a different one. I have a better story. Wait a second. Give me a second. One second. Been meaning to read these for a while. Okay. Pages from the Pizza Crows. This is from an indie author I found on TikTok, and they lent me their stories, okay? So we're going to read Pizza Crow 1. I have a bad habit of leaving my window open in the middle of the night. I suppose it comes from living in a hot room in the Florida suburbs for the first 20 years of my life, but now I'm an adult and I live in a bad area. I really should be more careful. Luckily, I haven't had a break-in by an actual person, but I did wake up one morning to find a crow had found access to my room. He was pecking at my desk, trying to pick up the leftovers from a s'mores Pop-Tart I'd left out overnight. I don't eat the edges, and they taste too dry. I wasn't really scared of the crow, since it didn't seem agitated or diseased. I figured if I just ignored him, he'd run out of the scraps and just leave on his own accord. I was right to an extent. The crow left, but unexpectedly he would return several hours later. I thought perhaps he wanted more food, but to my surprise, he instead dropped a small gift on my windowsill before quickly departing. Ugh, I'm such a good doggy. Upon closer inspection, it was a gold wedding band with the word irreplaceable engraved along the side in Old English cursive. My first thought was the bird was paying me for the meal. And, as a struggling 20-something, I immediately began to imagine how I could profit from this. If I kept pawning the rings the crows brought me, I could start a second income using just the parts of my breakfast without any frosting. It seemed genius. From then on, as long as I left out Pop-Tart scraps, the crow would return every day, bringing with him some small, shiny ring, gold and silver, thick and thin, some plain, some engraved. None were truly worth anything, however. I was patiently waiting for the day one came with a diamond on its head, but that day would never come. Once I switched his treats from Pop-Tarts to store-bought birdseed, I immediately noticed a change in my rewards. In exchange for the seeds, I was given trucker caps, the cheap kind with the netting in the back. They were once again, well, thank you so much for the redeem. Nothing valuable, but I definitely picked up on the fact that it seemed different foods were traded with different currencies. So I collected a few of the caps, just enough to hand out to my friends. I moved on to some other edibles to see its effect. Crackers got me bumper stickers, berries got me spools of string, shredded chicken got me McDonald's toys. I kept switching it up, hoping that eventually I'd land on something valuable. But then, handed over a french fry earned me a seashell. And after that I decided to take things in a completely different direction. You see, I shouldn't have gotten a seashell. I live in Peoria, Illinois. There's no beach to which the crow could have traveled to. Not with how fast I was receiving rewards. I realized then that something strange was going on. This wasn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It was a paranormal phenomenon, something worth recording. Over the next 2 months, I started a meticulous experiment. Every 3 days exactly, I would switch up the food and then write down the rewards. The results of my studies are listed below. 6:12 to 6:14, geckos from the yards, thimbles. June 15th to June 17th, applesauce. Teeth bones, note larger than humans. June 18th to June 20th, rice, old pennies. June 21st to June 22nd, worms, brightly colored shoestrings. 24th to 26th, spoonfuls of hot sauce gave me arrowheads. 27th to 29th, plain water, cigarettes, note unused. 30th to 2nd, mushrooms, Skittles, note 1 by 1. 3rd to 5th, peanuts, note and shell, plastic jewels and sequins. 6th to 8th, hot strip steak, sewing needles. 9th to 11th, tomatoes, live hermit crabs. 12th to 14th, crickets, razor blades. 15th to 17th, pizza, pages. The last entry on the list was unintentional. The pizza was actually for me. I'd left out a dish of plain salt for the crow. It seems, however, the crow prefers Italian food to Mountain of Spice. I'd left the box of pizza on my desk as I used the bathroom, and in just those 5 short minutes, the crow kicked over the bowl of salt, flew through my window, grabbed one of the razor blades that he'd gifted me, and sawed through the top of the pizza box. By the time I came back from the bathroom, the crow had gone through at least 3 slices all by himself. Upon seeing me, he looked panicked, then quickly flew off. I was mad at first, and I had absolutely no intention of feeding the crow another slice. However, that changed the following morning when I received my present. It wasn't nearly as dazzling as some of his earlier gifts. It was just a page of a lined notebook, paper rolled up in his claw. When the crow dropped it, I quickly unraveled it and read its contents. It fascinated me. There are 10 paragraphs, all written in blue pen. The language was English. The font was print, not cursive. There were several little typos scribbled out and replaced. There was a title at the top, but it had no author. This was clearly the first page of a much larger story. To get the next page, all I had to do was continue to feed the bird the same type of pizza. I took a total of 18 days before I reached the conclusion. I present the story, Bedfellows, in its entirety, in the following chapter. And that's going to be it for tonight. Just a little segment to end the stream. And we'll go through a few of these, I think, at the night streams. You know, end streams with a little bit of a, yeah, how do y'all feel about it? Are they nice? You like them? Am I making a new bit? Of course, of course, of course. All right, lovelies, how many of us are still here after the story? Let's take a look. Okay. More than I was expecting. Sick. Cool. Heck. Kaisuke? It's been a while since we rated Kaisuke. Yeah. Kenji is so cool. I wish I could meet Kenji. One of my goals, chat. One of my goals. Kaisuke. Yeah. They're playing Dispatch, so you can go hang out with them, okay? I know you all will come back later. All right, we're going to do our little black and red hearts. Heart. And I'm going to make a special raid message. There you go. Dispatch me some luck. He's playing Dispatch. So dispatch me some luck. All right. I hope you all enjoyed the stories and the gaming and everything. You've all been so very, very amazing. I appreciate you all coming by. And I'll see you all next time, okay? All right, lovelies? Good night. Bye-bye.